All right, good morning, everybody. We finally made it to Thursday. Only 2 more days till Saturday. Wow, I can hardly wait. Anyway, I got Rob Lapham calling all the way from Port St. Joe. And Rob, I understand the scallops are in and everybody's excited and they're all heading to Mexico Beach and Port St. Joe and everybody's just like beside themselves. And I don't know if you've participated in the scallop feasting that's taking place now. I know you.
I'm embarrassed to say I don't participate in that, but I do go down the street to Killer Seafoods, which is a wonderful restaurant.
Yes, it is.
And I consume the results of what everybody else is doing. So I participate that way.
Well, I started scalloping back in, probably 78, 79. And there was a few times that we'd actually, me and 2 or 3 buddies, we'd go out and fill up a 128-quart cooler full of scallops in one day. And we'd come back, drink beer, and do scallops, and that would be an all-night thing. It's amazing how long that takes. So now they got the bag limit to like 1 gallon per person or something like that. 2 quart, whatever it is. It's nothing like it used to be, but they say they're coming back, and I'm glad to see that they are, because we've been hearing so many negative things lately about down in South Florida, the red tide and all these things. And I know we've had it here before too. And matter of fact, that's one of the things that affected the scallops 2 or 3 years ago was the red tide. But anyway, what's on your mind this morning besides me talking about what's happening in our Gulf and our bays out there?
Well, for several days or actually months, I just get perennially fed up with the left. I wish they would stop fighting the president on border security. There's no common sense reason for it, and we ought to have border security, period. But that's not what I was thinking when I woke up this morning. I thought, what could we talk about that the news media just doesn't cover anymore? Because they cover the same old stuff day after day, and it's getting pretty tiring. And I thought, I really like what the Libertarian Party did at their last convention. And they have it in a couple of different parts. One of them is, let me just read this new plank, which I'm sure you're familiar with. You were there.
Yeah, I was.
Where is it? 2.10, sex work. It says, the Libertarian Party supports the decriminalization of prostitution. We assert the right of consenting adults to provide sexual services to clients for compensation, and the right of clients to purchase sexual services from consenting sex workers.
Okay.
Now, I know that some on the right just go bananas at something like that. Oh, my gosh, you shouldn't do it, whatever. It's a matter of personal freedom.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean that you or I are going to rush into there's a place called the Bunny Ranch somewhere outside Las Vegas.
Other
places.
Did not the government take over didn't the government take over one of their houses of prostitution in Las Vegas and it went bankrupt? Is that the one?
I didn't know that. Did it go bankrupt after they took it over?
Yeah, after they took it over a few years ago for tax evasion or something like that. They ran it, and they actually, I've never heard of a house losing money, but that house lost money, and they went bankrupt. I didn't think it could happen.
I can't imagine how it would in that particular business. It seems to me you would have a steady stream of clients. But anyway, I did not know that, so I'm not up on it. And,
over-regulation.
Haven't tried the services. But, this is just one part of the larger issue of victimless crimes.
Absolutely.
There's under crime and justice in the Libertarian Party platform. It says quite clearly we favor the repeal of all laws creating, quote, crimes, unquote, without victims, such as gambling, the use of drugs for medicinal or recreational purposes, and consensual transactions involving sexual services. These issues are not something that we ought to be prosecuting. As far as drugs are concerned, I think it's now the case that 40% of the inmates in federal institutions today are in there because of some kind of drug or drug-related crime.
No argument.
And that's ridiculous. I mean, we are so overblown in our prison system. Why are we not locking up people who are convicted of victim crimes as opposed to victimless crimes? It doesn't make sense.
Well, a lot of it has to do with the prison industrial complex. It's more profitable to take nonviolent offenders and put them in jail because they're not going to give you trouble. You don't have to have the security, so to speak. But if you take hardened criminals that are father rapers and mother rapers and all those like that, those people will hurt you and they have to have different security. And so maybe that might be the reason, because it requires more effort and more, on the private industry to take care of it. Because in my opinion, what you're talking about, no victim, no crime, some people have said, well, what about drunk driving? No, I'm not saying drunk driving. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about where people actually, they're not hurting anybody. There's no chance they could hurt anybody. That's what I'm talking about. You're not hurting anybody by soliciting the wares of a prostitute. You are not hurting anybody, maybe yourself, but nobody else. Drunk driving, that's a different story. You can hurt other people, and that's one that I want people to understand. We're not talking about that. Some people call that pre-crime. And I said, well, I don't know if you can call that pre-crime or not. But anyway, do you follow where I'm going on that, just in case some people are wondering what we're talking about?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
Drunk driving and actual automobile accidents, I think there's 32,000 deaths every year as the result of automobile accidents, and certainly some appreciable percentage of that is due to alcohol. I wouldn't say. I don't know what the percentage is, but
absolutely.
And it's amazing. We went through it with alcohol and prohibition, and it was banned, and finally the banning was disregarded by so many in the public it wasn't going to work, and so that was finally repealed.
Well, and the same thing, we're seeing the same thing in marijuana right now. I really think that's exactly what's happening. The people that, the laws out there, I'm trying to get it where you can grow industrial hemp in Florida that you can use that doesn't get you high. People out there don't freak out, but I want to do it. I want to do it to get the oil because it's very, very profitable. The oil is. You can sell a small vial of oil for like $40 for medicinal purposes. Wow. I couldn't believe that it's that expensive, but you get to sell that, and plus I can get cannabis honey from my bees. So I'd have two. That's something, but I can't do it because it's considered a Schedule I drug, and you can't get high off of it. It looks just like pot, marijuana, except it doesn't have any THC in it. That's the difference.
Ignorant legislators.
Ignorant ain't the word for it. It's all about protecting the money interest, to be honest with you, because in 1930, that all started due to DuPont and all that in the paper industry, because they did not want to have hemp competing with trees, because we had so many trees back then.
Well, once again, I think we can follow the money. Look at what's going on in Kentucky. Mitch McConnell is getting involved in the industry, so therefore he's going to make sure that we do something about decriminalizing the growing of hemp.
Most of our hemp that comes into this country comes from Canada. It actually comes from Canada because they can grow it up there with no problem whatsoever. You don't get high off of it, but we have to import it. And until 1933, the biggest agricultural crop in Florida was hemp. If you can believe that, up till 1933, the biggest exported crop in Florida was hemp.
And I believe that hemp is still one of the largest imports to the state of Florida.
It is. We have to import we import the heck out of hemp seed, hulled hemp seed. There's three things you can use hemp for. There's one type to use to make rope out of, one you can turn around and use for seed, to feed cattle and things like that for forage, and another type you can make oil out of. Now they all look like the pot that gets people high, and that's when the DEA out there doesn't want this to happen because, they might actually have to stop busting houses and gardens for people growing a plant in their backyard. Go figure, But, geez.
Well, let's look at this from and I'm not talking about hemp here, but just marijuana generally. But let's look at this from the other perspective, or an alternate perspective, as opposed to DEA busting up places. Mm-hmm. If you could walk in today to a CVS or a Walgreens and pick up your supply, whatever, of marijuana and go puff on it, the first thing that would happen is the cost of it would drop through the floor.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the government, of course, would tax it immediately and use it, hopefully, for some worthwhile purposes. But the illicit underground cash economy with respect to the drug would disappear.
Oh, yeah.
And it would, you don't know how much additional marijuana would be puffed if it were legal, but I have to believe that cartels, south of the border and distributors all across this country would have a real tough time if it wasn't illegal. That's a case for decriminalizing.
I agree with you, because I was talking to someone that I've known him for years, and I know that they sell marijuana on the side and everything. And I asked him, are you for this law to change it where we can have it? He said, heck no, I'm out there campaigning that we may keep drugs illegal. I'm going, why are you saying that? Because if it becomes illegal, I'll go out of business. I mean, becomes legal to sell it, I'll go out of business. I went, would that hurt you? And he said, are you kidding me? He said, I make a lot of money by doing this. I'm going, I guess you're right. I didn't think about that. I said, I can't take a chance with that because you go to jail forever if you get caught. And he goes, yeah, but I tell you, the profits are good. And I said, mainly because it's illegal. And he said, if it was legal, I wouldn't make any money. But since it's illegal, I make a good living. I went, okie dokie. Now I understand.
If you can't make money in a free and open market economy, then whatever it is you're doing, you shouldn't be doing it.
I agree.
And I mean, okay, so he's after his own income at the expense of untold troubles for other people.
It is.
Maybe he's not involved in it, but somewhere along the line, people are getting killed for fighting over market share and that type of thing.
Oh, well, we had a killing.
It's just disgusting.
We had a killing out here in Arnold this summer or last summer. I can't remember what it exactly was, over a bag of pot. A 17-year-old got shot over a bag of pot because it's illegal. Yeah. And I'm going, granted, when I was a kid, I did some things I shouldn't do, but I never killed anybody or hurt anybody over pot. But I know it happens every day. I know it happens because once you make things prohibitive, it becomes more, enticing. Come try me. It becomes that devil's lettuce, they call it out there. People want to get it. Yep. And I'm just kind of like going, but they put people in jail for doing nonviolent offenses. And to me, they need to decriminalize marijuana and get it over with. And I think that the first step is going to be decriminalizing hemp, which they're going to try to do before the November elections. If they do decriminalize hemp, you will be surprised what that'll do throughout the United States. We're talking about an economy that farmers can make money at and replace the citrus industry that's dying here in Florida due to greening. And that's one of the things we were
James, you were at a conference a month or so ago on industrial hemp.
Sure were.
Not?
Sure were. And that's what we talked about. How can farmers, small farmers, make money at this, help the economy, help people, and provide a needed product such as rope, such as fiber, such as oil, such as fuel, such as industrial things. There's so many things 50,000 items you can make from hemp, not including getting high from it, but you don't get high from hemp, but still, that's what they think. You can't get high from hemp, but you can use the oil for healing purposes. It's great for pain. You can use... Is
there a ballot proposition this time around or not yet?
Not yet. Not yet on the ballot, but this is going to happen. It's got to change in the Senate and the federal level. Once it changes federally...
Oh, okay.
This is what they talked about, and we had Kentucky come and talk about it. Their Agriculture Commission came and talked about it. He said, Mitch McConnell says he plans on having this law in place, decriminalizing hemp, industrial hemp, so that, and by the November ballot, people will start to see that, yes, we are trying to change the way the rules are. But we're going to see. We got a few months to find out what's going to happen. And we got about 20 seconds left, Rob. Are you still there?
In 20 seconds, I'll say, support the president's efforts on border security. That's what I'll say for my 20 seconds.
That's a pretty good synopsis right there. That's pretty good. Anyway, Rob, thank you so much for calling. I'll be talking to you again next week. I got Brian Armstead calling, and we're going to be talking about a new car out there. All right, we'll be right back.
If you want the best deal in town for tires, you need to call Baytown Tires at 873-8900.
Hanson and the guys at Baytown Tires take pride in serving Panama City for over 20 years. Baytown Tires on Highway 98 in St. Andrews. All service work backed by a nationwide warranty.
Water is too powerful to fight alone. Mr. Router Plumbing. Sink, shower, and toilet emergency drain services.
Part of what I'd like to let you know is what we do and how we work our system. Basically, we've got about 700 stocking dealers scattered around the 15 counties here in the Big Bend area of the state. I run a fleet of trucks, vans, and what we call hotshot vehicles to deliver to our dealers quickly so they can help service you as fast and efficiently as they can. Provide timely and efficient service, and we're there to take care of our dealers, who in turn can take care of their customers.
All right, welcome back. I got off the phone with Rob. We're talking about industrial hemp and decriminalizing things that, no victim, no crime. We're not talking about possibly hurting somebody by drinking and driving. We're talking about privacy of your own home, what you do there. Or if there's no victim, why should there be a crime? Anyway, I've got Brian Armstead calling all the way from Maryland, I believe. Good morning, Brian. How are we doing today, sir?
I'm okay, but I can't hear you anymore. I could hear you when Rob was on, but I can't hear you now.
I don't know what happened. We're having problems with the board. Hopefully you'll be able to hear. So I'm just going to shut up and talk about the car that you are going to talk about.
But I mean, can I just try to call back in real quick?
Okay, let's try that again. We'll start all over again.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead and try to call back in real quick. Just go ahead and try to call back in. Anna Marie, let's see what we can do to keep him on here. Go ahead, you'll pick up the phone. We'll start this all over. But sometimes when you're doing a live show, you have problems with reception. What now, Anna Marie?
He's on.
Okay, he's on? Yes. All right, good morning. Can you hear me now, sir?
But I'll just roll with it.
Can you hear me? All right, go ahead, sir.
Okay, I'm good. James, how are you this morning?
Doing well, sir. Doing well.
Yeah, I had a chance to go to up to Salt Lake City, Utah, and then head north to Park City, Utah, to test drive the new 2019 Hyundai Santa Fe. Now, I can't speak about the driving impressions on the car. Those are embargoed until Monday. So what I'd like to do today is talk about some key features in the car.
Okay.
Because I think they're significant enough to warrant talking about this vehicle twice, and then come back next Thursday and talk about the actual drive experience in the 2019 Hyundai Santa Fe. Now, you may be a little bit confused if you go to the Hyundai USA website, because you have the Hyundai Santa Fe, which is listed, and then you also have the 2018 Hyundai Santa Fe. Now, if you look at the website for the Santa Fe, the 2019 model, I know I'm a little confusing here, but it'll become clear. It says previously known as the Santa Fe Sport. So what they've done is they've taken the Santa Fe Sport, which is slightly smaller than the Hyundai Santa Fe, comes in at 188 inches in length approximately, versus 193.1 inches in length for the Hyundai Santa Fe. They've taken the Sport and made it the new 2019 model. And with the larger Santa Fe, they're going to probably give it some kind of special moniker when they relaunch that as a 2019 model.
Right.
But for 2019, the new Santa Fe, previously known as Santa Fe Sport, is a terrific automobile. Now, I had a chance to look at some of the technology involved, and I really want to focus on one particular feature, James, that really changes the game for technology in automobiles, and it's called rear occupant alert.
Yes.
Now, you may have heard of this in General Motors cars, where if you leave a kid in the back seat or a dog in the back seat, basically the system would just remind you to look in the back seat when you leave the car, blow the horn, or I don't know exactly how General Motors does it. I haven't driven one of their products in a while, but basically, somebody could still be in there. You wouldn't know it if we tend to get alarm. What's the word I'm looking for? Let's say you live near a church bell, and after a while you don't hear it anymore. You live near a railroad track. You don't hear the train if you live there for 15 years. It just comes right past, and you don't even blink. Or we can become our senses can become so used to hearing alarms. Like when you press the alarm key fob to lock the car, you hear a beep. You may not even remember that you did that. So hearing a beep is not necessarily the best way to safeguard against leaving a child in the car.
True.
Hyundai has come up with the system, Rear Occupant Alert. It's a world's first. It's only offered by Hyundai. Just before you exit the Santa Fe, 3 ultrasonic detectors mounted in the second row of the car check the rear seats. There's one mounted towards the center and one mounted towards each door, or each, all 3 rear seats, basically. It gives you a visual and audible alert if it detects passengers or pets still in the vehicle. Now, a baby or a dog or a cat can't keep still.
No.
So when it senses that kind of motion, it will sound an alarm to let you know that the person or the pets are still in the car. Now, where this system goes further, it will send you a message via your BlueLink telematics system reminding you to go back and look at that area again. So go back, check the car, keep your babies alive. Too many kids get literally baked to death, and pets baked to death every year in the rear of vehicles because parents, with the pressures of life, simply forget that they have kids in the back seat. Now, one may ask the question, well, how can you forget your kids? Well, thank God, James, it hasn't happened to you or me.
I know. I'm
not saying it's an easy thing to do, but can you imagine the pain of having to deal with that? Nobody wants their kids to roast to death.
Nobody does.
I mean, so, we have so many pressures in life. We got bills to pay and colleges to pay for. We have to feed ourselves and our children. We have stresses at work. You have a shop that you maintain. Am I getting enough revenue in? What's the latest bit of technology that I have to learn about? Well, all these things can lead to forgetfulness.
You're true.
So just hats off to Hyundai for for doing this. Now they also have another really cool feature, James, which is called Safe Exit Assist.
Okay.
If someone opens a back door,
and
it may be on the front door also. No, it's the back doors. If you forget to activate the child door locks, you have kids in the back seat. If they open the door and traffic is approaching, before they can open the door lever, it will automatically lock the rear doors to prevent exit. So let's say you got a 12-year-old in the back seat, and he or she's ready to go bounce out and play soccer at the local field. And she's so excited, or he's so excited to see their friends, they just pop that door open, and a car is coming at 40 miles an hour, and they're not even aware because they haven't even looked. Well, this will lock that door because it senses that car coming and keep your kids safe. Just another tremendous bit of technology from Hyundai. Also, a worldwide exclusive feature for the brand. So, you couple that with all of the other safety features that Hyundai has.
Right.
Forward collision assist with pedestrian control. All the other good, the high strip steel in the cabin. The new Santa Fe has 67% high strip steel. 67% of the whole passenger compartment and the structure of the vehicle is made of high strength steel. Think about that.
Wow.
Before, James, these imports would crumple up under severe impacts.
Right.
Not anymore.
Wow.
Not anymore. So safety, just a tremendous amount of safety in the 2019 Hyundai Santa Fe. Forward collision assist with pedestrian detection, blind spot collision avoidance assist, the rear occupant alert we talked about is available in certain trim levels, lane keeping assist, rear cross traffic collision avoidance assist, safe exit assist, the one we just talked about,
right? High
beam assist, smart cruise control, which predict with automatic stop and go, driver attention warning if you've been behind the wheel too long. This is not a Mercedes-Benz we're talking about, or BMW or Volvo. This is a Hyundai Santa Fe.
That's incredible. Because I remember years ago, only the high market car, BMW, Mercedes, maybe Volvo. And now you're telling me Hyundai and Kia. I guess Kia has it too, because that's their sister company. But that's pretty impressive. Very impressive.
Well, that may be Volvo. Let me just clear that up, because Volvo's always been a leader in safety technology.
True.
But your point is well taken, James. This is, now we have the Korean brands and the Japanese brands who've gotten into the mix. But Hyundai's just upped the game with this new rear, a rear occupant alert, rather, and safe exit alert. These are two critical pieces of technology that can keep your young kids alive. And I just wanted to say hats off to Hyundai for that.
I'm glad
to see
that. As far as the
2019, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm glad to hear that. And how much, where do they start at price-wise, sir?
$25,000 flat.
Ooh, okay.
$25,000. You can walk out with a Hyundai Santa Fe base model, which is called the SE. Then for $27,100, you get the SEL, which ups the content. Now this is where the fun starts, because with SEL Plus and starting at $29,300, you get the rear occupant alert and the safe exit assist comes on all models, but the rear occupant alert starts with the SEL Plus trim level at $29,300. So there's a $4,000 difference between SE base and SEL Plus, where you can get this rear occupant alert. If you have a small child and you want a safe SUV, spend that $4,000, $4,300, and get this critical bit of life-saving technology. SEL Plus 29.3, you go up to limited 32.1, and then limited 2.0 T at 33.7. Now you can choose between a 185 horsepower, 2.4 liter, 4-cylinder engine, or a 235 horsepower, 2 liter turbo engine. Now, pardon me, the turbo is standard on the 33,700 limited 2.0 T, but you can buy it as a standalone $1,600 option on any of the trim levels. So take the SE, add 1,600 to it, and you can add the very powerful, very smooth. Well, that's a driving impression, so I really can't talk about that. Let's just say it's worth the extra money if you have a lower trim level and you want to add some turbo power.
Now, are these vehicles available for people to go test drive right now? Because I know you
Absolutely.
Okay, good. All right.
They're in the showroom right now.
Okay.
They're in the showroom right now, and I encourage you. They have $500 bonus cash on the Santa Fe. Again, I can't talk about driving impressions, but I will say that this is a vehicle that I would buy.
Okay.
This is a vehicle that's extremely well done. It does everything well. It's quiet, and that's not a driving impression. That's just a fact. This is a quiet vehicle. It's luxuriously quiet, considering that you're in a small, they call it a compact SUV. I don't know how they figure it's compact. One of the critical differences between the 2018 Santa Fe that you can still buy and this new 2019 Santa Fe is that the Santa Fe for 2019 is a 5-passenger model, and the Santa Fe for 2018 that you can still buy, and they'll rename at some point as a 2019 Santa Fe whatever, is a 7-passenger sport utility.
Whoa.
You don't have the need for those extra seats and that extra weight. This is a very capable 5-passenger vehicle. I don't generally sit in back seats of anything because of my height and width.
Right.
But it's a comfortable backseat environment for those who, during our test drive, were back there. I mean, even with me behind the wheel, people were able to sit behind me with a reasonable amount of comfort. So it does everything very well.
Good.
And, Hyundai has another very important standard feature that, a lot of folks may sleep on because they say, oh, it's this, it's that, it's not a Toyota, it's not a Honda. 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. They've done this for years.
Yep.
Their cars are now at the top of J.D. Power surveys. Hyundai and Kia, their corporate cousin. These are reliable vehicles, folks. These are not, junkers that you have to.
No, they're not.
Take to the shop. They're not in your shop every week, James, because they're reliable. Reliable vehicles.
I don't see very many Kias and Hondas in here because, one, they're under warranty for 100,000 miles, and two, they just don't tear up that often. I got to go, Brian.